Good morning, YouTube. My name is Jennifer, and today I'm making Leicester cheese. Leicester cheese looks like it's Leicester, but it's Leicester cheese. That's how you say it. If you're English, you say it like it's an open ending, but I say it Leicester because I'm uncultured. This morning when I got up, my husband right away filled up my cheese pot with all the milk that we already had refrigerated, which was approximately 6 gallons of milk from the past couple days. So that went into the cheese pot. I heated it up to about 85, 90 degrees, cut the heat, added the clabber culture, which is what I'm using, 2 cups of clabber culture or a 1/4 cup of clabber culture per gallon of milk. I added that, and then I went running while it cultured. So it's supposed to culture for about 45 minutes or an hour. I let it go for an hour. While I was on that run, my husband had been milking and he brought up the fresh milk and he topped off the pot. So there's a couple extra gallons of fresh milk that perhaps was only cultured for like 15 minutes, but that is fine because on a lot of farms, back in the day, they would take the night's milking, pour it into the big cooking kettle, let it sit overnight with cultures or without. I'm not always sure. And sometimes it was in wooden barrels, so you already have the natural cultures in the wood that are working overnight. Then they take the fresh morning's milking and add that and then proceed with making cheese. So I'm basically replicating that, but in an hour. So I came back from my run and it was time to add the annatto, which I could have added back when I did the cultures, but I added it at this point. And the annatto smells horrible. It smells like garbage. I added a whole tablespoon this time, which wasn't even the full amount. It's supposed to be 4 teaspoons of annatto, and I added only 3, 1 tablespoon. Describe it. I'm trying to describe it. No, I'm trying to describe it. Fish. Oh, it does smell like fish. You're right. It smells like fish. Thank you for describing it. I have never made a cheese with this much annatto. I'm a little bit concerned that I might have a fish cheese. We'll see. And then I added the rennet, which technically is supposed to be 2 teaspoons for 8 gallons of milk, or a 1/4 teaspoon per gallon of milk. I only added 1.5 tablespoons because I cut back on my rennet. I don't usually need that much. At that point, I let the milk rest for about an hour and 15, so there's a clean break. I tested it once and just decided to let it go a little bit longer because I needed to eat my breakfast. Right now, I'm gonna cut the curds. Does it smell like fish? No, it smells good. Into 1/4-inch pieces, which is just with a whisk. Gonna let this heal for 5 minutes. If the kettle is too full, remove some of the whey. All right, there we go. It's supposed to be 85. I'm afraid I smell annatto. It's 87. So I only need to stir this for 15 minutes and break up any large chunks I find, such as those. Yeah, they just kind of crumble apart. The curds are soft. Man, this is orange. That's alarming to me. It is very loose in the whey. The curds have shrunk considerably. They're soft and tender. I'm going to just start cooking them now. First, I'm gonna temp this. 86 degrees, spot on. Over the next half hour, this is gonna go up to 95 degrees. Now it's supposed to be held at this temperature for another 30 minutes while stirring. Look at these curds. They are tiny baby curds. It feels like there's not, well, it feels like there's something in there, but it also feels very loose and freeform. I'm gonna stir this for the full time. And I'll probably set this for 30 minutes and then I'll probably only go about 20 because I'm getting bored and because I just don't want to. So 30 minutes, we'll see how long I go. This is just kind of freaking me out. The color, the feeling of the curds, which is no different from other times when it feels like there's nothing in there, but it just seems, I don't know, like I maybe killed it. This is what the curds look like. Very small. And I'm going to do a squeeze test. I'm going to contort my body into unmanaged, ouch, I get a cramp in my calf. And this is what it looks like. It is done. There's no reason to do all this long, ridiculous cook time. These curds are excellent. And how do they taste, you ask? Fabulous. One thing this recipe said that is if you let it age longer, you get a distinctive flavor. I'm wondering if that's the annatto. Like, can you actually taste annatto in cheese? I guess we'll find out. Because I sure as heck put a lot of stuff in there. All right, so these curds are done. Next thing is to pour off the whey. Put the curds into a cloth-lined colander and drain them. And then I'm gonna set that colander over a kettle that has some of this warm whey in it because you wanna keep the curds warm for the next part of the process, which is called cheddaring. Stop. Thank you. Cheesecloth. I am actually surprised at how much there is. That's a goodly amount. We will see if it fits into here. I love how that looks. Not a ton of curd, but it's a good amount. And now let them drain for 20 minutes. So over this warm whey, and make sure it's not sitting in the whey. The whey is the whole way down there. I'm gonna put a lid on that to try to hold it to temp. This next step involves cutting the ball of cheese on a cutting board. This is my cutting board, and it is the one that we use for bread. So I'm going to scrub it with soap, and then I'm going to spray it with vinegar because you do not want to get any yeast in your cheese. The same knife that chopped my thumb off. I'm totally fine. I'm going a little bit overboard. I'm most concerned about this cutting board because the cheese will sit on here and anything that is leached into the wood will come up. Here are the curds. They have sunk down in, and I have a mass. It is not much cheese. It does not feel heavy. This is going to be a small one, I think. It is on fire. It looks like cheesy popcorn or like cheese curls. Like fake color. So I'm going to cut this into slices. So just some thick wedges. And this gets laid down in. I'm going to flip these every 20 minutes for 1 hour. And when I flip it, I reverse the stack. The first 20 minutes is up, and now we need to do the flip. They have shrunk it down. So the top goes on the bottom. It's nice and warm, and it's already beginning to feel like chicken. I'm gonna put this on the bottom and reverse the whole glorious mess. There we go. Another 20 minutes. Flipperoo number 2. This always stinks. It smells cloying and rancid, and I don't know what all. I hate the smell of it. Final 20 minutes. Here's the cheeses. Just gonna chop them into cubes and throw them in this pot. Look how rubbery they are. It bends. Really tough. It's like chicken breast. You can like tear it like that. These curds are quite warm still. Tablespoon of salt per gallon of milk. 8 gallons milk. A half cup of salt. This is probably too much, but a lot of it will run off. Toss this together. Taste all that salt in there. Oh, it is good. I'm gonna load this into the cheese press. And these curds are rubbery and dry and not prone to sticking together very well. So they say don't press them hard. That's not true. With this kind of press, you gotta press them hard or else they will simply not stay together. You can see nothing is running out yet at all. So the first half hour is 15 pounds, then for 2 hours at 30 pounds, then for 24 hours at 50 pounds. That's baloney because right there we are at 50, 40, and this is not even together yet. There's no point in doing it without getting it together. Ah, there we got some liquid. Now I feel good. Okay, I'm gonna let this sit comfortably for about an hour and then I'll come back and flip it. This has only been a few minutes and this is sitting directly on here so it is not pushing down anymore. It has stopped. I'm gonna open this back up and slip this in so I can get more pressure. And now it's running off again. We have more space now in here. See all those holes in there? But if I don't get it pressed together, then we'll need to backpack it as opposed to larding it, which is what I actually want to do. Fell apart just a wee bit, but not too bad. Let's slam this together this time. We're gonna go super hard. So that's like at 100. About 2 hours and then we'll come back and flip. I flipped this once this afternoon and forgot to film it. Hon, can you squeeze this down for me? Is that all the way you can go? Nope. You can't do it anymore? No. Can you squeeze this down for me? Thank you. Time to take this out of the press. There we go. Oh, it knitted. It did very, very well. It is almost perfectly knitted. It smells orange. It smells good. It smells kind of fruity and delicious. Let's see how much it weighs. 5 pounds, 14 ounces. It is a small cheese. That's so pretty. So now this is supposed to air dry for 2 to 5 days. And oh, it also said dust it with salt and shake off excess. So I'll do that. Does the excess fall off or does it stay on? It kind of stays on. Cool. I'll do more on the sides because that's what it said to do. There we go. I've run out of my little bamboo mat. I'm using these wood boards that my son got me. Normally, I would not want to put a cheese on a board that is smaller than it because what happens is the cheese slumpies. But this is a pretty firm cheese and I don't think it's going to slumpy too bad. So let's just go put this in a cheese cave. I'm going to just slip this into here and let it go for a while. I mean, I'll flip it every day for a few days. This is air drying, by the way. I'm just chilling it because why not? It's getting cracked there. I'm gonna flip it and let it go. I've already flipped it a couple times. It's cracking, it's getting dry. It needs to be wrapped or sealed. That's gonna happen in the next day or two. I just have not gotten around to it yet. It is rock hard, it is cracking. My daughter said it looks like the bottoms of somebody's feet. Pretty gross, huh? No mold that I can see so far. Now, I am going to bandage wrap this, which means that I suspect mold will get down in these cracks. And that's probably not a good idea. Why am I bandage wrapping it? Because you're supposed to. But if there's cracks, argh, what do I do? Let me read my notes. Change of plans. I'm going to vac pack this cheese. It is a small cheese. You can see it's not very thick. So if I am losing rind, if mold gets down in there, I'm going to be trimming away an awful lot of the cheese. And that's just not worth it to me. If I had a big wheel, it might be better. Or hydraulic presses that like nail it and seal it off completely. I don't have that. I'm gonna do the vac pack. So I think I might be able to get this all in without cutting it. Ah, just about. It's actually quite well knitted and it smells good. It just smells like a regular cheese, nothing fancy. Beautiful, beautiful, all things lovely. But then those cracks look like they could be dangerous. It feels like it could potentially be buttery and creamy. We'll see. I'm going to seal it one more time, just the seal part so it doesn't come open. Okay, there you go. I double sealed it right here and I double sealed it right here. And this will be ready in, they say, anywhere between 3 and 6 months, 3 and 8 months, 3 and whatever. So it's gonna go down in the cheese cave. Actually, I might just put it over here for now. Good morning. It is time to taste the Leicester cheese. Just brought this up from the basement. It's exactly 3 months old today. It feels softish. It's nice. It's getting a little bit of white around the outside. Let's cut into this and see how it is. It's dry. It does not feel at all wet. Here it goes. That's kind of funky looking. It's a little bit striped and layered. That's probably the knife dragging through when I cut it. It feels like it's gonna be chewy. This one was 1.5 teaspoons of rennet. I have dialed back my rennet now to 1/8 teaspoon per gallon of milk. So I wonder if this is gonna be rubbery. It's gonna be elastic, that's for sure. And I thought Leicester was supposed to be more like a cheddar. This is creamy. Like it's pliable, it bends. It's almost like a Colby or Jarlsberg. It's yummy. It's sweet. It's very yummy. It's soft, creamy, chewy. It has a really nice mouthfeel. It is not dry. That's really nice. There's a little bit of a sharpness maybe to it, slight sharpness. That's delicious. That's good. Now my question is, should I let this age longer and see if it gets more cheddary-ish? The problem with this is I want to get this video out to y'all so you can make it. But here's the thing is that when I make a video and show it to you, my learning often continues beyond that because I might have it 6 months from then, or I might decide 2 weeks later, I don't really like this as much as I thought I did, or oh, this is way better than I thought it is, or oh, this melts beautifully, I didn't realize that. I just can't get it all in one video. There's just too much going on. But I do have my newsletter, Splashed. That's kind of the spot where I am putting some of this extra information that people can find if they're curious. And it's just fun for me to write. I just like to document things and keep track of stuff. The whole journey is kind of exciting. So pretty. And there is no flavor from that annatto, which is wild, I think. So does it melt? That is the question. It melts. Look at this. Nice toasty cheese, and gooey, sweet, yum. This would be fabulous on mac and cheese. Make all the people who like additives in their food feel right at home. It's a perfect level of stretchy goo. This cheese is a good one. Maybe I have a little crush on yellow cheese. I don't know. I do think it is a little bit like a cheddar. It's not dry at all, but there is a similar paste. It's elastic, I know, so it's not quite there, but I think with some more aging it would get there. But I do definitely taste some of that cheddary vibe. So you could make this as a cheddar without the annatto if you wanted to, and it's just cheddar cheese, right? More or less. With a better press, you would get rid of the rind and then it could be bandage wrapped, which might be what I want to try next. Backpack like this, it aged very well. Very good texture, a lot of moisture in it. but not wet. Highly recommend this one, I think, y'all. It's a playful thing. It's a little bit like a cartoon character. We can all use a little bit more humor in our lives, right?